Welcome, everybody, to the final episode of Chatting with the Comic Community. Well, not really the final episode. I guess we still have one episode live tomorrow night with Bobby Delaghetto, where he will be giving away a gigantic art book. That's right, an art book that he has worked on throughout the years, throughout the last 5 years. He will be giving that away tomorrow night. But for here, right now, I have one of probably my best friends in the community, and I'm surprised that I have not sat down with him and had an interview with him. Um, but I finally got to him, and it's sadly it's going to be the final episode before Bobby and that. But this guy, he's a fantastic artist in this community. We've seen his art throughout between the lines, stuff that he's posted on Instagram, commissions that you've seen over on church, him working over on church, and that drawing. You see the work in progress with that. He's one of my favorite community artists. You know what I'll say? He's one of my favorite artists and one of my bestest friends. Let's bring out my next guest. Let's bring out Radd Art and Comics.
Hello, everybody. I
Welcome,
am Radd Art
man.
and Comics.
Welcome. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good.
So, thank you for joining me on this final episode. I wish I could have got you on earlier, but you know what? It's better late than never. So, I'm so happy that you have joined me.
I'm glad to be here, man. I don't do interviews a lot, but for you, I will.
I appreciate it. So, for the viewers at home that don't know a lot about you, give them a little rundown of who you are.
My name is Aaron. I also go by Rad Art and Comics. Um, I'm just a comic collector and artist, and yeah, been in the community for about 5 years, maybe six, and yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome. So, let's get right into it. I want to know, I always ask my guests, everyone that comes by, it always starts with comics and how you got into comic collecting. So, throughout the years, I've known you for quite a while, but throughout the years, Um, how did you get into comic collecting, and what drove you to collecting comics slash reading?
Um, well, I think it probably started with the yeah, I loved Superman movie. That's when I probably first got introduced to superheroes, and but I was really young when watching that, and I think it was Batman that really sucked me in as a comic book enthusiast, and all the Batman movies. The original Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson as Joker. I just loved those movies. I loved all the Bat gadgets, and I loved the Batmobile. It was just so cool at the time. Um, I was also big into cartoons, so Ninja Turtles was also another big gateway into comics. Even though at the time I really didn't even realize they were a comic book, I just knew them from the cartoon and movie and toys. It wasn't until later on I found out, they were comics. And but yeah, Batman, Ninja Turtles, they were probably my first introduction to get me in.
So yeah, your first introduction to get you into the comics and that. So do you remember the first time that you actually picked up a comic book and was like, oh wow, this is what they're doing? Like I need to get myself a pull list, or I need to continue reading this single comic book.
Um, I can remember my first comic was a Spider-Man comic. I just found it at a gas station in the magazine aisle, and yeah, I would just grab them now and then. My dad would get them for me, and I would read them as we were driving, to go fishing or whatever road trip we were doing. I would read the comic in the car, and yeah, that's when I first really kind of dug into them. Spider-Man was probably my first actual comics that I started collecting.
Spider-Man was the first. So was that the one you just continued going? What was the next one? Like what really drove you into picking up and getting a wide variety of comics?
That would probably be X-Men. The X-Men cartoon came out. I was real into the X-Men cartoon, and I really started saying, okay, I wanna check out these comics. I want to learn more about the characters. And I was actually a card collector before a comic collector. So I started off with baseball cards and stuff, and I had a huge baseball card collection. And then the love for comics started creeping in, and then I found out there was comic book cards, and I started getting those. And all my friends in school, they were DC fans, and I was big into the Marvel, and they were trying to tell me, you need to get into DC, you need to get DC. And at the young age, I just refused it. I don't know why, but it wasn't until my older years until I finally realized DC was cool too, besides Batman. But yeah, um, yeah,
Yeah, I will say, as a fellow DC fan, that you definitely need to get into DC. So my next question is like, did you continue collecting throughout the years, or was there times that you took like a fair like a lot of people, they go to college, they meet a girl. Was there a time where you kind of just stopped collecting comics, stopped reading comics?
so I probably got up to like 3 long boxes, and when I got married, I just kind of put them in the closet, and I just kind of stopped. And I was about 21 at that time, and I stopped for maybe 10 years. And then when I got back into my 30s, I'm trying to remember what actually brought me back in. It was probably a Spawn, and just knowing that I had collected Spawn from the issue 1, and I collected it all the way to like issue 100. When 100 hit is about the time I stopped. And then after that 10-year break, I realized that Spawn was still going. And I was like, wow, so one of my favorite books is still going. I was like, I guess I need to check out and see what's going on. And yeah, I just picked up more Spawns, and I was just like, wow, it's still good.
Yeah, I know you to be a pretty big Spawn fan. You're currently going through a lot of your Spawn collecting and that, and trying to fill in the runs of Spawn that you haven't had. So was that the main reason you came back into the hobby, was because of Spawn?
That and the passing of Stan Lee, and why my phone just went dark. But yeah, when Stan Lee passed away in 2018, that's when I really and they were kind of picking up the MCU movies, were picking up a little bit of steam, and that kind of got me back into the groove again. The MCU, the build of the MCU. I guess the X-Men, Fox X-Men movies, they also kind of kept me in the wind, where I was still interested in the hobby. But I probably really didn't come back in until Stan Lee passed away. And when Stan Lee passed away, I was like, yeah, I wanna get back into the comics again. I wanna you know get into that passion.
Yeah, because for a while you're the name that you went by on YouTube, and that, like, seeing you in chats, it was like it was honoring Stan Lee, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I did that to honor Stan Lee. It was his favorite character, and so I picked Norrin Rad. And yeah, 'cause I've watched every Stan Lee interview there's ever been, and I learned all I could about Stan Lee, and just comic books in general. I love the history. I love learning about everything about him.
Yeah, so it's not just the comics itself; it's like the history that you've found throughout this hobby. And that, what's like the coolest thing through the history of comics that you've like learned throughout the years?
Um, I guess hmm, Well, Stan Lee was one thing because, like, I really thought, growing up that Spider-Man was his favorite character, and learning that it was Silver Surfer really threw a curveball at me. I was like, Silver Surfer, he doesn't even have very long of a story, and but yeah, and so I delved deep into the Silver Surfer's history and learning all I could about it, and yeah, let me think. There's been some other things too, but I guess learning about the whole image uprising, um, everything about that was really cool. Learning the details years later of everything that happened. It wasn't just Todd rebelling against Marvel. It was a whole slew of artists and writers that were kind of just tired of the big companies and the way that they were treated, and you know, the poor pay that they had to, suffer through to get through, to be creators. Yeah, it's just cool learning some of that stuff. I like the history of image.
Yeah, the Image Revolution documentary with the guys and stuff was really cool. There's other little snippets, like I think on the sci-fi YouTube channel, they have a little image uprising videos and stuff as well. A different take, similar but different. So yeah, I do love all of those as well. I know that there's more Stanley document or books that I have not read, but I definitely want to get into it. So through discovering these characters and that, like when you went and you were like, hey, I want to learn more about Silver Surfer, and that is that where your love started for that character?
Um, I'd have to say it was the cartoon. There was a Silver Surfer cartoon in the '90s, and I loved it. It was one of the first cartoons that intertwined computer graphics with traditional cartooning, and it was just really cool. I like the way they mixed everything, and I like the way that Thanos' ship looked, and the way they did their outer space scenes and everything was really cool. And that's when I first like really liked that character.
And then your love just grew while learning more about the character and discovering it. I'm kind of curious to know, like, what is your favorite Silver Surfer story, and by which writer?
Mm, I like the original run of Silver Surfer, the 1 through 20 or so. When he's fighting Mephisto and going through the big battles with Mephisto and all that. That's my favorite.
That's definitely your favorite. I still have to read that. I've read Donny Cates' run, and I've also read Dan Slottman, which was another fantastic run. I have not read the original. I definitely should go back and try to read that for sure. Now, most of us know, and it's written in your name, that you're an artist, that you've done art, and that I want to know that your journey to becoming an artist. Where did it begin, and where you're at now?
Well, my art was a long journey. I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil, and I was a real bad kid when I was little, and so I get grounded a lot. And so I spent a lot of time grounded to my room, and all I could do was draw. And so that's what I did, and I I guess it's paying off now. I'm kind of getting a little nerdy, but
Yeah, it took some
yeah, I
time,
guess
but you're definitely getting there.
I've been drawing my whole life. My grandparents, my grandma in particular, she's a painter. She does oil painting, big, nice oil paintings, landscape stuff. She tried to teach me it at a young age, with all the chemicals and stuff. But like, I couldn't really get into it. Like I tried to, but it was a lot to take, as a child to take in. And let's see. I guess in high school, or well, in grade school, I was always known in school as like the best artist in school or whatever, and so everybody always wanted me to draw for them and all. But in grade school, I had to do a huge mural for my school. It counted as my whole credit towards math, so I didn't have to take math class. But I painted a big mural of a lion in our gym because we were the Lockwood Lions. That was our school motto, or yeah, mascot. So it was cool. That was kind of like my first job, art job, was drawing this huge mural of lions in our school. And then in high school, I took all the I was placed in a gifted and talented art class, and I had to take that. I took like some college classes at grade school level for art, and after that, I kind of I got married and everything, had kids, and got a real job and became a truck driver actually, and I did truck driving for like 10 years, and then when I got out of that, I became a tattoo artist, and became real interested in tattooing, and I went through like 3 years apprenticing, but never finished. And my tattoo mentor, he still wants me to come back and finish, but we live thousands of miles away now, and so it's just not something I'm really doing right now. But it is something that I could do in the future, finish my apprenticeship. But yeah, I love tattooing. I love art. Every the history of art, everything about it.
That's amazing. Yeah, like I don't think a lot of people know that you're a tattoo artist. So a lot of people are probably surprised by that. I want to know, like, what was the the most, how do I word this? What was the tattoo that you did that you looked and you were like, that is some damn good work?
Um, well, I did some cat paws on a girl's chest, and they came out really good. Like they actually looked real. So like I was impressed by that, and I did some cool crosses on a couple people, and just some cool design work with crosses. Um, yeah, and I actually didn't get the tattoo. I've only tattooed 5 people, and because I'm still an apprentice, so I didn't get the full. I don't have the full license to tattoo people, and so I did a lot of pig skin. We'd practice on pig skin, and
Okay.
I would do comic book stuff on the pig skin. I did a really cool picture of the darkness on pig skin, and it looked good.
That's pretty cool. I know a lot of tattoo artists, they end up tattooing themselves. Did you ever get the chance to tattoo yourself? But
I never did. No, I never tattooed myself. I let my mentor tattoo me, but I never tattooed myself. I just have one tattoo on my chest. That's all I have.
all right, so I'm gonna move away a little bit from the art, but we will definitely be coming back to that. I want to know your journey into, like you stated earlier, that you got married, you had kids, you were truck driving, you kind of stopped doing art, you stopped collecting comics. You told us your journey getting back into it. I want to know the journey coming into this comic community, because you've been around this comic community for quite a while. So I want to know your journey into the comic community.
Um, I think I think Bueller was probably the first person that I really started hanging around on a weekly basis, trying to get into his chats and just watching his show. I loved watching Bueller, and you know all the big guys, of course, Comic Pop, all these other big guys. Um, I watched them too, just to learn about stories and books that I had never took the time to read or anything, or didn't know much about. Like that's what I liked about it. It was learning stuff I didn't know, and because I thought I knew so much, but then I realized there's so much I haven't even tapped into. And but yeah, and then let's see, I think Roscoe Between the Lines is came in pretty soon after watching Bueller, and doing between the lines on a weekly basis got me back into, or got me more involved with the community and making more friends, and
Yeah,
definitely posting on
you definitely
Instagram.
yeah, you definitely send in every week. You'd be one of our in-betweeners for sure.
Mhm.
So yeah, that really drove you in, and I want to say like it kind of got you more into doing art a lot more, didn't it? Because yeah,
It
I'm
did,
not sure.
yeah,
Like you were kind of reading comics, but I'm not sure if you were doing as much art at that time.
right, yeah, yeah. It definitely got me back on pace with doing it more regularly.
And then this is going to get you back into the art. I knew that we were coming back to it, and it came back quick. You actually, since you've been posting your art quite a bit, a lot of people have been getting commissions off you. But not only that, you're now actually a published artist, because you have a cover or two, yeah, a cover and art inside of a book, and now you're going to be doing another cover and interior for books. How are you processing that? Like, how is the feeling for finally being able to be recognized for the art that you're producing?
It's nice. It's nice. It took a lot of hard work. It doesn't just happen. Um, I had to do it every day. I had to show up for between the lines every week. I had to practice, learn all I could. I had to admit that I don't know everything. I had to be open minded to learn new things. And I think the hardest part for me is being social. I'm a very antisocial person. I'm very secluded to myself, and I'm not good at speaking with people. So it's helped open me up a little bit.
And it's yeah, so it's definitely opened you up a bit, and that now you're becoming more of a social butterfly in a way because you come on church every week and you're drawing, you're hanging out with us. You jump on with me and Biggie sometime on live streams and stuff. So you people like I've talked to Rich about this on the last episode. People need people. People need people to talk to enjoy, and that. And for those introverts like myself and you, like we're introverted. We're not very social, but we want to be. We want to be, and this community actually lets you be social with being kind of like behind the scenes, like either with your camera off or you just not showing your face. People are still want you to be included and respect you enough to be like, hey, yeah, like you don't need to do that. We want to hang out with you and talk with you about these nerdy stuff. So I'm happy that you're becoming more open with yourself throughout this community and that, and I'm very happy that I've become friends with you and got to know you through the process because yeah, you're hanging out with a lot of people recently, and I'm happy to see you on streams a lot.
Yep, it's a big change. It's a big change for me.
So let's talk about the first book and how it felt seeing seeing your art on a cover. Shout out Brian LCS. You did the cover for the Doctor issue number 2. Um, how was that feeling when he hit you up? What was the feeling like when he's just like, "Hey, I want you to do a cover for me for this upcoming Kickstarter"?
Well, it felt good to be recognized, of course, and then at the same time, like I was very nervous. I'd never done a cover. I didn't know if I knew how to, all the little ins and outs I needed to know to do it. And Brian, he was real helpful and supportive, and he had a really great idea, homaging the Doctor Strange cover. I really like that idea. Doctor Strange has always been one of my favorites. I like Doctor Strange. I like the weird and the magical stuff. Anything weird, I like. Um, but yeah, it was a really good idea, and so I was all on board, and yeah, it felt really good. And then it's kind of like kind of like a little small snowball. You know, it starts slow at the top of the hill, and then as it starts going, it gets faster and faster and faster. And that's kind of how it's felt here this past couple of years with my art. Is, you know, I started off a little slow, but here lately it's just ramping up, ramping up, ramping up, and it's just building really fast. Everything's starting to happen real fast.
It is happening really fast. Like Brian also hit you up for Damsels and of Halloween, which a lot of people I've been seeing have been getting those issues. I should have mine by now. It's coming to Canada, so it takes a little longer, but I actually got that issue because your art is inside it. I regretted not getting the Doctor issue 2 physical because it was your cover, your first cover. So I was like, I have to get this one. And you're doing art in that one, and you're going to be doing a cover and some interiors for Murder King upcoming. So that's really exciting that all of these things are just like you said, snowballing and coming together real close. I can't wait until you start getting offers or people messaging you on Instagram that are saying, "Hey, I have a Kickstarter coming up. Wondering if you can do the art inside or the cover for the comic." I'm just waiting for that, and if anybody is up doing a Kickstarter upcoming, definitely hit Rad up and that and talk to him because like his art is phenomenal. And I will say your art, because you've been pushing yourself, because you've been like you do pretty much art every day, and that so you're pushing yourself to get better each day. And I want to say like it's showing. It's definitely showing. Like I want to say like you go look at Rad's art, like it's still fantastic a year ago, but the improvement now is phenomenal. And I want to say you can continuously get better. And I'm proud of you, man. I'm definitely proud of you for what you've accomplished.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. It is hard work. It's hard work, but yeah, if you stick to it, it will get better and easier.
And easier. That's for sure. So let's move on to what you talked a little bit about it earlier with Batman the animated series, the X-Men movies, and that. I want to know like your pop culture uh, growing up with movies and TV shows and cartoons because I know I know that you're a huge horror fan, but let's start with the cartoons that you grew up with and that you mentioned Silver Surfer, Batman the animated series. What other cartoons really shaped you as the nerd that we know today?
Um, it probably started with He-Man. I love the He-Man cartoon. That was my first cartoon I can really remember like loving. And then the Ninja Turtles, of course, but I loved all cartoon. Really loved the Looney Tunes.
Mhm.
Everything Wile E. Coyote, Martian Manhunt, or no Martian, Marv the Martian, and yeah, it's just I loved what else? Reboot. I know me and you both love Reboot. Me and my little sister, we love that cartoon. We love that cartoon. And yeah, Reboot was a good one. Um Seeing the different styles of art was also cool. You know, I love Japan animes. They just felt so superior to our art when at the time, especially late
Mhm.
'80s when you had Vampire Hunter D, um, Alita Battle Angel, um, just some awesome Japan animes that I loved. I love the Japan animes and just the art style, the storytelling. It was just, you know, way more adult oriented than kind of our more cartoony tunes that we have here.
Yeah, it definitely did feel more defined than the cartoony cartoons because it it was good
Even like
animation and stuff, but the line work was not that great for old like
yeah,
80s cartoons and stuff.
Thundercats really impressed me at the time because Thundercats was like way better art compared to, you know, He-Man or some of these other cartoons that were out at the same time. And I found out, you know, it was a Japan studio that was doing the art for them. and so that's why it had that Japan anime look. But yeah, Thundercats were probably where I really was like, this is a really cool style. And I've always
Would
been
you say
drawn to the
like
villains.
the
I
villains?
love
Like what kind of
Umra,
villains?
like Umra
Okay.
in Thundercats, and Mr. Sinister in X-Men, or even Apocalypse. Um, Try to think. The
Vill-
Penguin, Joker, Mr. Freeze. I love Mr. Freeze in the Batman animated series. Um, Man Bat in the Batman animated series. That was a good one. Uh, yeah, I've just always been drawn to the villains. I don't know why. I like the dark stuff. It looks cool to me.
they I feel like they also had like a better story to them. They're like more developed in that. Like you get the hero who is straight laced, and then you have like the many layers of the villains. So
Hmm. And even Spider-Man, he had Morbius. I guess you could say he was a villain, but not really. But Spider-Man, he faced a lot of villains, a lot of cool stuff, with Spider-Man. Yeah, even
I think
Spider-Man
it's
himself is kind of villainish, like because of his name and his power set. Like you wouldn't think a spider would be a hero. I would think a spider would represent like a villain or a bad guy. I think that's why I liked Spider-Man because like he didn't have like the good boy Superman kind of look to him. He was more, you didn't know, is this guy a hero? Is he's making mistakes? Is his uncle got killed? Um, he just let the robber run by him and kill his uncle. It's like he could have stopped him, but he didn't. And Spider Gwen dies in his arms, and from Green Goblin. And so, like, I always was waiting for Spider Man to just snap. I guess. I guess just like really let it loose, but kind of still waiting on that.
he kind of did in Spider-Man 3. He kind of snapped.
Yeah, 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 he did with the black suit. Yeah.
So that speaking of movies and that, and yeah, villains. Everybody seems to always love the villains. Like I said, they have more depth to their story. They're more interesting in a way. And like I think Bleecker is the same way. Bleecker likes the villains as well. So that's why you probably two are good buddies. Um, let's move to movies because you and I talk a lot about movies sometimes, more about TV shows. You're a fellow TV guru. You like to watch and recommend TV shows. So we'll kind of add these two together, the movies and TV. Um, what movies are like your go-to movies throughout the years?
Um, I really love the Unbreakable series. Unbreakable, Glass, and Split. I love the comic book nods that they have in those movies, little Easter eggs and stuff. Um, really love the Unbreakable series. What else comes to mind? I like Dune. I really like the Dune movies. I thought they did a good job, and with the new one especially. I never really liked the old original one. I thought it was too boring, but I got more into it the older I got. I loved Star Wars. Star Wars was huge for me growing up, of course. Um, what else? The martial art movies. I love all Jet Li, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen. Anything with those guys in it, I love. I love those movies. Um, Rumble in the Bronx. That's definitely a go-to movie I have to watch like on a monthly basis almost. It seems like. Um, Trying to think. Hmm. Batman, the Batman movies, of course. I love them all. It doesn't matter which one. Like I could. I guess the newest one I think's the weakest one, but I'd still watch it. Um, yeah, I love the Batmans. Uh,
Now, to go back to some of like the martial arts movies, I know this is like a funny martial arts movie, but were you ever into like the Shaolin soccer or movies like that?
yes, Shaolin Soccer is great. I love those movies. Yeah. Um, what was that one? Kung Pao. That was another good
Yeah,
one. Uh, yeah, I love those spoof movies. Those were great, hilarious.
but I
I
feel
love
like
comedies
you.
too. I grew
I'm
up with
su-
Chris Farley, Adam Sandler. They were huge with me. I love Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and Billy Madison. Love the comedy movies. I miss them because we don't really get a lot of those movies anymore.
Yep, I agree. That's why I took a stand and was like, I'm going to go see The Naked Gun in theaters because I want more comedy movies to be out there. Because like the thing about that is like there are comedies out there, but they're not comedies. They're other genres with comedy added and stuff.
Yeah,
Like comedy is
yeah,
still there, but it's just, hey, let's have this horror film, but add comedy. Let's have this superhero film, but add comedy.
yeah.
So I do want them just to have a strictly comedy movie, and that's what I saw The Naked Gun. Like I highly recommend going to see it. And now we're gonna get a Spaceballs movie, Spaceballs 2. So I'm excited for that as well.
Oh yeah, I love Spaceballs. How are the shorts?
But I'm surprised you say like you're more of a comedy guy because like when I talk to you, you're recommending a lot of horror. You're huge into horror and that. Like, I want to know some of your favorite. I when we're recording this, guys. So just to give you uh, little understanding, it's Halloween night. It's October 31st when we're recording this. You guys are seeing this, what November 4th. So I want to know kind of like what spooky stuff do you like to watch during this month or all year round? Because like I like to get scared. I'm not into like the gruesome like body horror type of stuff, but I like to get scared. And I'm kind of curious what you'd recommend.
Hmm. Something I go to all the time. I love Event Horizon. I really love like the sci-fi. Anything sci-fi, I'm really into. And then you mix in horror, and I'm sold. So yeah, Event Horizon's a good one. Pandora, or yeah, Pandorum. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I think it's Pandora. Anyway, about these guys who go to sleep on a ship, and when they wake up, they find out that they were asleep for too long, and everybody's mutated on the ship. Yeah, it's a really good one. Um, let's see. What's another one? Hmm. I've been watching so many horror movies. It's just like a blur. Uh, Long Legs was good. I liked Long Legs this year. Um, I was kind of disappointed with Weapons. I went in thinking it was going to be something else, and it ended up being something else. And I guess I had too many expectations for it. I thought it was going to be more towards like aliens took the kids or something, but it kind of leaned more towards horror than sci-fi, which is okay. But yeah, Train to Busan. That's another good one I could think of. I watched here lately. It's a good zombie flick. 28 years later, 28 weeks later, 28 days later. I think those are good movies. Or good zombie movies. Um, I was never really big on The Walking Dead, but I did love like the first 2 or 3 seasons, and then I kind of just fell off. It kind of got too much, and or more just kind of became bland to me. It seemed like more of just the same thing was happening every episode.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. Oh man, I should be able to go on forever on horror, but yeah. Pennywise, we got the new uh, It Welcome to Derry, and I'm curious to see where it goes. It's definitely not nothing that's been in the books, but it's kind of cool to see something like what people can create, what come up with, imagine. Um, it's definitely a different take on it, and it's definitely a wild take. But yeah, it was been entertaining. Um, uh,
So let me define the question here. Um, Let me ask, what do you look for in a horror movie?
um, I like believability, but like I was saying earlier, sci-fi. I really lean towards the sci-fi horror, like aliens, stuff. Predator, things like that. I'm really hyped for the Predator movie. I've been looking forward to it all year. Probably my most looked forward to movie is Predator. Um, I love Dracula. I love vampire movies. It doesn't even have to be Dracula. I just like anything that involves vampires if it's done well. Um, I loved Interview with the Vampire. Um, Bram Stoker's. Um, even Dracula. I think what was it called? Dracula Untold. One of the newer ones. I like that one too. Yeah, the Nosferatu. It was pretty good. The new Nosferatu. Um, yeah, I like creature features. I really like creature features also. So, there's a movie Underwater. It has the girl from Twilight. What's her name? Kristen.
Kristen, not Belle, but I forget. Yeah, Kristen is her name, but I can't remember her last
She's
name.
in that. She's in that Underwater, and it that movie is amazing. That's like my favorite creature feature movie. It's great, and it's Cthulhu is underneath the water under there, and it's amazing the way they did it. Probably the best portrayal of Cthulhu that we've had on screen. Um, I like the Cloverfield. All the Cloverfield movies were really good. Um, Trying to think creature features. King Kong. I liked all the King Kong movies and Godzilla. Love Godzilla. Um, yeah, I think Monarch's gonna be good. I hope the next season's good. I like the guy that played as John Walker. He was really good. I like him. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he looks
Um,
just like his father too.
he does. Yeah, he does. And yeah, they got really cool creatures in that Monarch. So I'm curious to see where they take it.
That's amazing. Like, and since we're on the topic of TV shows, I am kind of curious to know because a lot of people say like I'm recommending them TV shows, but you're out here, you're watching shows I've never watched before, and that you're recommending people shows and stuff. You're a big TV guy. You love to watch some TV and that. What are some of the TV shows that really catch your eye?
Um, The Penguin, I think, was probably the best show I've seen in a long time. They did a really good job with The Penguin. Um, Trying to think what's been another really good one. Uh, Alice in Borderlands has been a really good one. I really like that show. Um, Trying to think. I need to go back and watch Parks and Recreation, and I also need to watch some Office. I've never watched The Office, and I've never watched Parks and Recreation. So those are two shows on my watch list personally, because I'm a comedian fan, so I gotta watch. I gotta find those, and yeah. Um,
Yeah, I definitely highly recommend The Office and Parks and Rec. And this might be a controversial take, but I like Parks and Rec more than The Office. But that's just me.
All
But I
right,
highly
yeah,
recommend both of them.
I definitely had to check them out. Yeah. Um, let's see. I was trying to think. Yeah, I really love that. This is an old school show. This is an old take, but I love the Heroes show. I really love that
Loved
show. I think they
Heroes.
did good on it. Up until like the final few episodes, and it kind of fell off, but it was good. It was a good ride. Um, some
Did
older
you end up
school shows.
watching the Sorry, did you end up watching the Heroes Reborn
Yeah,
series? Like, ended up bringing it back. What do you
yeah.
think of that?
It was okay. It was okay. Like I said, I was just so into it. I was okay with getting more, so it didn't matter if it was good or not. I still just liked it. I guess
That's
I
fair.
just kind of biased. Um, oh dang, I thought of something and then I just forgot again.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That
The
was my
Flash.
fault.
I like the Flash. The Flash
Mm,
show was really good. Um, trying to think. There's an old show. I really was into like the Outer Limits, Twilight Zone. I loved all this weird stuff. Um, there's a show. It was I don't know if anyone will know this one, but it's Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. and it had Bruce Campbell.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was just a really good show because of Bruce Campbell. I watched everything with Bruce Campbell in it.
Everything with Bruce Campbell. So I'm guessing you watched Burn Notice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Burn Notice was good. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good
it's a
one.
funny story. Funny story about that is like the lead actor that plays in that, Michael Rosenbaum, the guy that played Lex Luthor, went up for that role, but lost it to that guy.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Hmm.
So we're getting to that hour mark, and I always end the show off with comics because we started with comics, we'll end with comics, and that I want to know some of the comics that you've read throughout the years that you would recommend people to today, or some of this new stuff that you're reading that you'd recommend.
I would recommend 30 Days of Night. That's one of my favorite comics. Um, the new Skin Breaker series. I'd recommend people jump on that. That Skin Breaker seems like it's a good book. And Spawn. I'm always going to recommend Spawn and the Spawn universe. I got to support Todd. He's been with me my whole life, so I got to support Spawn and all the Spawn books. Um, trying to think of some other comics. Uh, the New Gods, DC New Gods has been good. I've actually been trying to keep up with that. Um, the new Batman series have been pretty good. I always pick up the Batman books. Um, definitely one of my favorites. Uh, hmm, oh, I know I'm forgetting something major. Should have wrote this down. Uh, oh, another book I could recommend is not a lot of people know about. I don't know when this came out. When did this come out? Eh, anyway, it's called The Iron Saint, and The Iron Saint is by Francis Manapul and Jason Rubin. It's a really good book, and it's been done with for quite a few years. I got the trade back of it, but if you've never read The Iron Saint, I recommend people read that. It's a pretty cool book. Um, uh, Wolverine has been good in Marvel. As far as Marvel goes, Wolverine still goes pretty good. They're trying new stuff with the character. They've tried the Helverine. They've tried making him a Ghost Rider, making him all kinds of different things and amalgamations. But I like that. And they also brought a Sabretooth back, which I liked. Bringing Sabretooth in again, making him more regular with Wolverine's story is definitely important. But yeah, I'd recommend Wolverine. It's a good book. And yeah, I guess that's about it.
Well,
Spawn.
Rad, Spawn,
Spawn.
current
More
Spawn,
Spawn.
more Spawn. Are you reading the spin-offs too, like King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, Scorched, and Sam and Twitch?
Yep. And the book, they got the Book of Nyx, the Curse of Shirley Johnson, and even Violator has his own book. But
And
yeah,
I think
they're all
they
good.
brought back Spawn Kills too, right? Spawn Kills everybody.
Yep, yep. They got that one too. Yeah, I like the whole universe. I hope it
Oh,
builds
Rad.
up into something.
Yeah, it would be good. I kind of want them just to make the movie though. At this point, like, come
Yeah, I
on,
think
Todd,
the
make
fans
us the
are
movie.
getting a little impatient. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're patient though. We stick around for a lifetime, like me, hoping one day it will happen.
One day. Well, Rad, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and actually sitting down and doing an interview. I know you don't do regularly do interviews and stuff, but I want to get you well known. I want your name out there and stuff. I want people to hit you up and say, "Hey, I want a commission of this," or "I want a commission of that," and stuff. I want because everybody needs a Rad piece in their collection, and that I have quite a few. And your art is, like I said earlier, it's improving and it's getting so much better, and it's to the point where, sad to say to most artists out there, most, like, not to put them down, but like, not really putting them down, but you are at the level of being the comic book artist at that level. Like, you're up there with them right now. Like, I put you, like, and it's, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I put you up there with, like, Todd and that, because you're just that good. Like, you should be doing actual comic covers for DC, Marvel, Image, and that. Like, my dream for you is to eventually be able to do a cover for Spawn. That Todd
That
hits
that
you
would
up
be
and says,
amazing.
"Hey, I want you to do a cover." So, um, definitely check out Rad on Instagram. The link is down below. Go check out his art that's on his Instagram. Make the choice on your own to see if you would want a commission from him. If you would like it, just message him. He's more than willing to experiment, to try new things, and that. So
I
I
love.
appreciate you taking the time, man, out of your busy day.
Thank you, Tim. Yep, thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to say before we end?
No, just like TM just said, just hit me up if you want anything done. I'm always up for a challenge, and I love doing new stuff and things I've never done before. So, yep, hit me up.
All right. We're going to jump on out of here, and that, make sure you tune in tomorrow night live, where we'll be doing a giveaway for Bobby Delgadetto's art book, another artist in this community. And that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, my friends, stay freaking nerdy.